Hey guys, so I'm going to record this video today to show you all how to go from Blackboard to MyStatLab, and then how we're going to use MyStatLab. As you can see, I have my scarf on today. It's very cold. I don't know if it's cold where you are as well, but it's very cold and snowy and Bowling Green today. Alright, so if you go to our Blackboard page, it's going to look something like this, right? If you're not sure about navigating the Blackboard page, I had a previous video on that, so you can watch that first if you have any issues with Blackboard. But where you're going to go most of the time for our class, I would come in, you're going to see announcements. Anytime I make a Blackboard announcement, I have it automatically send to your email, so you should get it both places. But kind of check here if there's any more announcements. They'll come up below these due dates here. Those will always stay at the top. And then the next thing you're going to do is go to this MyStatLab login, and that's what's going to take us to the MyStatLab where all our homework and stuff will be. Alright, so when you get here, you notice that you shouldn't have to enter any other password or username. So if you are asked to do that, that means there's some issue with the Pearson product or with Blackboard or with your computer or something. Okay, so I would try maybe a different browser, maybe just waiting a few minutes and try to log in again. If none of those work for you, then I would contact Pearson. Okay, and again, that's something that's in the tab that I labeled MyStatLab Help or MyStatLab Info, one of the two, on the Blackboard page. Now I can't remember. Let's see what I labeled it. Oh yeah, MyStatLab Help. So if you go there, you can go directly here just to go straight to the Pearson page, or you can kind of look through here for some of those common questions that people ask. Alright, so getting into MyStatLab, if you had college algebra here at STA220 last semester, you probably used this, but it was called MyMathLab, and so you're going to navigate it just the same. Everything's going to look the same. It's just called MyStatLab. Okay, so let's look at this. For now, what you would do first, you're going to come into this page, but you're going to go up here to orientation. And it says you have to get 100% on this. Okay, so if you miss one of the questions, you need to go back and do it again. Okay. So we would do this one. This is the first one that we'll work on. So you click on that, say Start Test, and then you'll have your quiz here that you would answer. Once you're done with it, you just do Submit. Okay. And so after that, you want to make sure that you got 100. If you didn't, then it won't let you move on to Unit 1. Okay, so this is where our homework and quizzes are going to be located. Okay, so Unit 1 is Chapter 1 and 2. Unit 2 is 3 and 4. So they all include 2 chapters. We go from chapters 1 through 10. So you see here when you click on Unit 1, right here it shows you all the sections that we're going to cover. So that's a good place that you can go to get to the e-textbook. So if you're wanting to maybe read through the sections first, you could go ahead and click on that, and then it will take you to the e-textbook. Now once you're in the e-textbook, then you can navigate from there. You know, you can flip pages, you can highlight, you can print off pages if you would like. So once you're there, you can go wherever you want. But I think one of the easiest way to get into the e-textbook is just to go to your unit and then just pick one of those sections. Okay, so once the e-textbook is opened, you know, this is what it looks like here. You can see over here you've got all the chapters laid out for you, so you can click those and go to, you know, if there's a certain section or whatever you want to cover, you can look at that. Up here, all those things, you know, you can highlight if you wanted to. You can bookmark pages. You can print them out if you would like to. You can see up here, like if there's one that maybe has a really good example that you would like to use as you're going through your homework. Or some, you know, some kind of chart like that, and you want to print it, then you can go and of course print that. So that's kind of a nice feature that you can do from this. Now when you're going through the book, there are a few things to look for. This right here, these are you try it. So when you see the example here, if you push this, it's going to open up another example that you can try. Now these you try it's do not go towards your homework grade or anything like that. There's no grade to them. It's just for you to do on your own. So that's up to you if you want to do that. Then the other thing that you'll see occasionally is videos. Let me see if I can find any in here. Right here. So if you see a video, then this video is not one that I created. This is just a video that comes with the book. So if you clicked on that, you know, it'll open up these videos and you can watch those if you would like. Okay. So going back to our Unit 1 here, you'll see you do have all those. Okay, so that tells you all the sections we're covering and where they are in the book. Then this is where you'd go for your homework and quizzes. So the homework and quizzes, of course, I said would all be in MyStatLab. So everything that you'll need to complete for this class is in MyStatLab. Okay, so you'll have the homework, the quizzes, and all the tests, including the final. Everything is here in MyStatLab for you. So what the typical homework assignment looks like, you know, what you can see here, just in this chart, is all the due dates. Okay, now when you clicked on Unit 1, this is only showing the assignments for Unit 1. Okay, so everything you see here is what needs to be done to get credit, full credit for all of Unit 1. Okay, so you've got several sections of homework, a quiz after every chapter, okay, and then the unit test covers chapter 1 and 2. Okay, so what you see over here is the due date. So these are due on January 21st at 11:59 p.m. Remember, those times are Eastern. Okay, so if you live like here in Bowling Green, that would mean 10:59 for you. Okay, it doesn't adjust based on where you are, so it is always Eastern time. Okay, over here, this will tell you if your assignment has a time limit. Our homework never has time limits, okay? They're unlimited up to January 21st at 11:59. Okay, you can work on it as many times as you want or as long as you want. Attempts is how many times you can do it, so that's typically something we would see on a quiz or a test. So quizzes, you can do 3 times if you would like to. Test, you can do twice. With quizzes and tests, only the highest grade counts. Okay, so I don't average them or anything like that. It just takes the highest grade. So if you take it once and do great, there's no need to do it the other times. Okay, once you've completed or actually started working on an assignment, you'll see a grade over here. So this one I attempted, did a little bit of, so you could see a grade there. But that way you can kind of tell where am I, you know, when you come back to it, if you don't look at it for a few days and you come back, you can see exactly where you left off. Okay, so if you click in your homework assignment, you're going to see all the questions that you would have there. Sometimes some of these first sections have kind of several questions in them, so it might look like a lot, but a lot of them are just asking you like what type of variable is this, definition type thing, so it's not something that's going to take you a real long time to complete. So if you have a green check mark beside your problem, then that means that you got it right, so you don't really need to worry about that one. If you have one that doesn't have a green check mark, then that means you need to work on it. Okay, so I could go back here and fix this. Okay, I would go down here to check answer, and then it says you did it, you know, great job. You can also do this little drop down box here, like if I don't want to do this question but I know I want to go on to question 15, I don't have to just arrow, you know, 14 times to get there. I just click on 15 and we've got this here. Okay, now when you're working your problems, you do have some help. Besides just using me, you have some help here. So the question help is over here in a little menu, and you've got several options. The help me solve this, what it's going to do is it's going to take this actual example, okay, the example or the problem that you're working on, and it's going to go through it step by step and give you the answer. Okay, so that's great, except that when it's done giving you the answer, then your problem is going to change, okay, because now you know the answer to that question, so it's going to give you another one, okay. So that's the help me solve this. The view an example shows you a similar problem, okay. So like if you had the problem 5 plus 3, okay, and you're trying to find that, if you did the help me solve this, it would say 5 plus 3 equals 8. Then you would go back to your problem, and that problem will change and give you a new problem. Okay? If you went to view an example, it wouldn't show you 5 plus 8. It would maybe show you 2 plus 1 and say 2 plus 1 is 3, show you how to do that, and then you could go back to your problem and apply what you learned in the view an example to the problem you have. Okay, so usually I think the view an example is a little better because you can see the steps there and then apply it to your problem, as opposed to having to redo a whole problem, because now you've worked the problem in the help me solve this and you have to start over with a new one after you finish that. There's videos here. These videos would be the same ones you would see in the textbook, so they're just something related to what this problem is talking about. We also have StatCrunch. You're not going to use StatCrunch very much until you get into Chapter 3. Chapter 1 and 2 you want to use it for. Oops, sorry. But Chapter 3 is when we'll actually start doing some statistical work. So I'll probably do a whole nother video on that. But it's very similar to Excel or SAS or SPSS or Minitab. Any of those you might have done before. It makes graphs. It'll calculate descriptive stats. It'll even do confidence intervals, hypothesis testing, all that stuff. So Chapter 3 on, you could use that for some stuff. And then this would be the last thing you could do is this Ask My Instructor. That's a really easy way to contact me because you don't have to remember my email address or anything. When you click on this, let me move this here. It's going to say, you know, it's going to me, and then who it's from, which of course probably will be your name, right? Then it shows what you're working on, and it's going to actually send me this problem that you're working on, and then you could say, I thought this was discrete, but it says it is not. I don't understand. Or something, okay? Or maybe you could say in a later problem, I've put this in my calculator, but I keep getting an error message. What do you think I'm doing wrong? Whatever. So I really like when students send me questions this way instead of just sending me an email saying, I don't understand 1.1, because it's very vague. You know, I don't really know where to start. So then I have to send back another email and say, what part don't you understand, you know? And then they have to email me back and say, well, this part, and then I have to email them back. You know, so if you just send me this, the Ask My Instructor, I can see exactly what you were doing, or what you were thinking, what problem you're working on, and then I can give you feedback based on that exact problem that you have, okay? So that's just the Ask My Instructor. There's also a print option if for some reason you wanted to print them off and maybe work on them with a tutor or do something, you know, you could do that. So let's go back. We're going to X this off, okay? And go back to the homework and quizzes here. So when we're doing those, you'll see your score as we go down, okay? If you wanted to from here, like if this was later on in the semester and you were working on multiple units, you could go here and, you know, choose different units and it would take you to that one, you know, if you wanted to do that way. Most of the time, I usually tell students just to go from here just to make sure you're working in the right chapters and, you know, you're not in the wrong place. So some other things that you will find helpful here in the MyStatLab. Of course, there's a lot of information over here, but I would go to the course home up here, and then I don't ever use this, but the multimedia library is kind of neat. It's kind of a place where all the videos and examples and things are stored from the textbook. So if you know you're struggling with a certain concept, so let's say we're doing Chapter 3 and you're having issues with the dispersion stuff, which is like range and standard deviation. You could say, I want to see all the information that they have on that in the book. So you say find now, and it's going to show you all this stuff. So there's a PowerPoint that they created, there's a StatCrunch tutorial, there's all these little mini lectures, videos, okay? So that's something you could go to get some extra help, okay? Now you don't have to do any of this, but it's all things that are there to help you, okay? So if you are struggling, you might want to go through some of this and see if it helps you maybe understand a little better. Tools for Success is also another good spot. So Tools for Success, you'll see there's lots of things in here, but one is these StatCrunch here. These are some videos to show you how to use StatCrunch. Okay, so you could go through there and look through that. These video tutorials. And then all the way at the bottom here, I like this statistics graphing calculator card. It shows you all these, a lot of the things we're going to be using our calculator for, and shows you screenshots and how to use them. Now I also go through a lot of this stuff in my own lecture notes, but you know, it's just something else to have there, you know, if you want to look at it real quick and you don't want to really go through a video or whatever and try to find it. Okay, and there's the same thing for StatCrunch, for SPSS or Minitab, any of those other ones, if you happen to have those statistical software packages available to you, and Excel. Okay, so there's a lot of good stuff there in the Tools for Success. So that is in the course home. Okay, so you have to click on that to get to that little menu. And then your grade book is important, right? So remember that all your grades are going to be in the MyStatLab. Since we don't turn in anything via email or via Blackboard, there's really no grades that I need to enter in. Okay, so all your grades are going to be on the MyStatLab. So let's look at how we would work through this. When you're looking at it at first, it's going to show you your assignments here that you've completed. Now notice that this one says past 2 weeks, okay? So if you get on here and you notice that none of your assignments are there, it might just be that you need to say, I want to look at the entire course, okay? So if you did something more than 2 weeks ago, it wasn't going to show it there, okay? So make sure you adjust that there. You can also just look at homework or quizzes or tests at the end of the semester if you're kind of reviewing your grade and you want to see, well, what did I make on each of my tests? It's a little easier to look at it that way. So we have 3 groupings for our grades. We have homework, we have quizzes, and we have tests, right? So the homework, quizzes, and tests all count a different percentage. But what you can do here is click on the Show Calculation. And this is going to show me that my homework average right now is 16.67%. Okay, my quiz average is 100%. I haven't taken any tests yet, but when I do, that will be whatever it is. Okay, and so that is how it's calculating this overall percentage, but these are your individual percentages. Okay, so you can always look at those if you would like. It is a weighted average because it's done based on, you know, what percent we have worth, like, you know, the final exam is worth 40%, so it's weighted more than your other test. The last thing I'll talk about here is the study plan. The study plan is something that can be very helpful, but it also can be a little confusing to students because this is going to look just like your homework, but it's not going towards your grade. Okay, so you're welcome to work on it as much as you want to, but just remember that it is not something that is going to affect your grade. Okay, so it may help you understand the concepts better, but it's not going to raise or lower your grade. Okay, so I would only go here if I was having trouble with a certain topic. So what you can do is go over here to all chapters, and then, you know, whatever you're having trouble with, say it's chapter 5 and counting techniques. Okay, when you do that, it has all these different options, and you can look at any of these. We mainly work on combinations, not the permutations. So we could go in here and click on one and work on this and get the same help that we would get in a homework problem, okay? But this isn't going towards your homework grade, okay? So this would just be extra work if you think you need it, you know, to help you through it. Chapter contents is another place you can go to get the e-textbook. You can just go straight to the chapter from there. All right, so I'm sorry, I know that was a really long video, so you may have had to break it up because 20 minutes is a long time to watch me on video. But hopefully that helped you get through the MyStatLab. If it is your first time, I think for a lot of you, you've already done stuff like this before using MyMathLab or something, so hopefully it's pretty similar. But if you ever have any questions about where to find things, just let me know. I do also have a PowerPoint presentation that just has screenshots, and I've written in things that are important. So I'm going to post that as well so you can look through that. If throughout the semester you've forgotten something, you don't really want to go through the whole video again. All right. So remember, anytime you have a question, feel free to email me at angela.galloway@kctcs.edu. All right. And so until my next video, I'll see you later.